Welcome to Colombia! My name is Frank and I run the YouTube channel Colombiafrank. I'm Swiss and I'm living in Colombia since 2015. I welcome you to our new format, Colombiafrank Talk. This will be the first video in a series, so in the future we're going to publish 2 videos a week. The new format will be mainly me explaining about Colombia, about culture, history, medical issues, tips and tricks, lots of different things all about Colombia. And then of course we will have the travel videos as we already have them in place so far. So the place we're here today is called Origen Bistro, and this is an example of how La Candelaria, the historic part of Bogota, changes. And it's a beautiful place. It's a historic house with the garden inside. All around the garden you have different rooms, you have a bar, a restaurant, beautiful made. And when I came to Colombia in 2009, La Candelaria was a bit more dangerous and dirty and not a place where you wanted to hang out. Today it's much different. The quality is improving more and more, and places like this pop up. So quality is getting better and also life is getting better. And with all that, the offer for tourism. We'll show you the exact address for people who are already here in La Candelaria. It's the corner where you have the BBC, you have the hamburger store. Today I want to introduce myself, that you actually know who I am and what I'm actually doing in Colombia. I'm Swiss and I worked as a banker for 20 years. I had a very typical career in Switzerland. So with the age of 15, I made an apprenticeship in a bank. I went to the army, as it is mandatory in Switzerland. I became later on a platoon leader, had 40 guys and 3 tanks, which was quite cool. Although Switzerland is not going to war, so it was not that tough, let's say. And I went to evening school, then to university. Then I was working for a couple of years in the bank again. And one day the boss of my boss came to my desk and said, "Frank, do you have a moment?" And that was actually the initial moment why I'm here in Colombia today. They let me go this day, and then I had to reflect and think about my future life. And I took the decision to leave Switzerland, to leave the financial sector. And I made a matrix with 10 factors and checked on the big economies in Latin America. And finally, Colombia and Mexico were on the first place. But 5 years ago, Mexico was really a bit troublesome in terms of security, so I decided to come to Colombia. I didn't speak any Spanish by then, so the decision to enter the market was doing an MBA. I applied, therefore, at Universidad de los Andes here in Bogota. And when I received the go from them, I packed all my stuff in Switzerland within 3 weeks and went off to Colombia. I came 1 month prior to the program and thought that's enough to learn Spanish because the whole MBA was in Spanish. When I started classes, I realized that I didn't understand the professors nor my fellow students. It was quite difficult, so I had to study a lot by myself besides all the classes. After the first semester, I was traveling around Colombia, and the plan already was in place to start a business of the MBA. But when I was traveling to Providencia, Caribbean island, to Cartagena, La Guajira, I just saw it right away that the future of Colombia will be in tourism, because the country is in such an early stage in terms of tourism, and there is so much to offer. It's so beautiful, and for me it was clear right away I need to start in tourism. So I decided to write my final thesis. I wrote a business plan to start a travel agency. which I then started in 2017. Having a travel agency, it was for me pretty clear to also start a YouTube channel. In terms of marketing, I thought this is the best way to promote the country, because still today I would say the biggest part of tourism is backpackers. Let's say biggest part from US and Europe. We're not talking about Cartagena, this is quite special, but the rest of Colombia. The numbers of backpackers in Colombia are still high, but the country is ready for quality tourism, and this is actually why I'm doing this. I want to teach everybody in the world that Colombia is a quality tourist destination. So when I started my travel agency, I bought a car, and my first trip was alone. I drove from Bogota to Medellin to Cartagena, La Guajira, and back. That was 1 month and 4,500 kilometers. Then a couple of weeks later, I had my first employee, Sebastian, who you saw or who you will see in different videos, who's a historian, and he's my deputy. With him, I drove to the south. I drove to Tatacoa Desert, San Agustin, then Pasto over a mountain pass, which is called Trampolín de la Muerte, the trampoline of death. This road was like, maybe you've seen those videos on YouTube where they show the most dangerous road of the world in Bolivia. It was more or less like that. Then we came to Pasto, went to Las Lajas. On the way back, we went through Popayan and Coffee Zone. It was also 1 month on the road and over 4,000 kilometers. So that was the initial start, to travel all around the country, to see all the hotels by myself, to know all the local operators, to select them, to go to the sites. And this is already 2 years ago, and since then I traveled much more. I started a new brand which is called Sula, which is focused on bird watching. Those days you will see many of those videos. Also the last trip to the Caribbean coast was mostly because of bird watching. Colombia is the country with most bird species in the world. It's just amazing. In terms of biodiversity, Colombia is the second most biodiverse country in the world after Brazil, but Brazil is much bigger. You have Pacific coast, Atlantic coast. This country is just amazing. It's so fantastic. So this is also reason why I want to show you what I'm doing and show you the country, and that people, foreigners, see that Colombia is not stuck in the past with all the violence. No, today Colombia is much safer country, and what you can see and what you can experience here with the Colombians, which are fantastic people, is just amazing. So I invite you to subscribe my channel, to write me comments if you're interested in specific topics. Write me. And thanks for watching again. Future videos, share, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want. Tell your parents, your sisters that Colombia is a great country. Come here and travel around. I wish you all the best from Colombia. Yours, Frank.